thing about words is that the mind takes words and it swallows them into conceptualization and interpretation. In this unfolding, what we are longing for is to, we could say, remember the truth of who we are, remember the love that we are, remember and reconnect to the source of who we are without question. And the curious thing is that words can't really lead us there if we are conceptualizing and interpreting, because that whole activity will always keep us within the limitation of the mind's capacity. And the mind is just a part of the whole field of consciousness. And we can't use the mind, which is finite and limited, to know the infinite, unlimited. We can only know the unlimited infinite through the means that we have been given to know that. And the means that we have been given is presence. Because presence immediately brings us to the infinite, unbounded field through direct experience. And it bypasses the possibility of words conceptualizing and limiting, misunderstanding, and trying to understand. And really trying to understand what the mind can never understand. And the mind's adventure is trying to get it right, trying to be good, working hard, trying to be enough, trying to prove my worthiness. And that whole adventure will never actually lead us, it cannot lead us to the truth of what we are actually longing for. The longing can lead us, but the longing can only lead us if we're willing to realize that the longing itself is the fulfillment. If we imagine that our longing has an object, an objective goal at the end of it, then we're sliding down a snake before we know it, back into the mind's conceptualization. So in a way, the most profound possibility is to is to rest in the stillness and the silence and use the grace of what we have been given in order to know what presence truly is, to recognize the grace and value of our own presence, to actually know that presence is not just my presence or me being present to this moment as something separate and divided, but presence is the presence of God and glory. It's the presence of love. It's the presence of everything that we are longing for. In a way, to enter the longing is to enter the field of presence. To enter the presence is to enter the field of longing. To enter the field through presence or longing is to enter the illumined field of transmission that is the frequency of God and glory. That in a way, the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is to actually come to recognize the presence of God that's here in this moment. Yes, it is here in this moment. God and glory, the divine, the Lord, the Mother, the truth, the wholeness, the light is here in this moment. It's not an objective search, and it's not a search in time in the future that you might possibly be worthy enough, ready enough, mature enough, sincere enough. No, God and glory is here right now. And so the greatest gift that we can give ourselves, the kindest offering that we can make to our own self and our own hearts, is to practice in a way the presence of God. There was a beloved called Brother Lawrence that wrote a book called The Practice of the Presence of God. It's been spoken of in many ways, but it's the actual most sacred and simple and holiest possibility. And yet the mind is so hungry for words. The mind is so hungry for the how. And the mind loves too to dwell in the territory of what is wrong and the possible hows to fix it, even in a subliminal, on the subliminal edge of that. We're never joining to talk about how to fix. We're always speaking that there is no fix, there's no change. And we're offering this presence, but what if we are just to focus upon actually recognizing that presence right now? To focus upon the recognition, the recognizing of our functioning towards presence and recognition, like true cognition, not intellectual understanding. True cognition is to cognize, is to bring forward the actual true intelligence of our knowing of God and glory. It's to bring forward a cognition, to bring forward the truth of our deepest understanding. And that's to use the fullness of our consciousness and not just try to use the consciousness of the mind and the body to realize something that the mind and the body cannot realize. Hopeless, right? So if we put that over there on the hopeless pile, the pile of things that are hopeless in this lifetime, what is being recognized in the field is that there is so much misinterpretation of the words, and it cancels out on a certain level the glory of the transmission. Because what's important in all the words that are spoken is the transmission. The mind is so hungry for words and to try to understand that it focuses upon its sort of desperation to try to understand and its innocent conceptualization, and it focuses upon its misunderstanding, and it creates more drama and trouble and upset for itself because it uses its misunderstanding as a way to make myself wrong. This unfolding is about joy. This unfolding isn't about being hard on yourself, and it's not about making it hard. The mind loves to make it hard. The mind loves to complicate. The mind loves to self-judge and be cruel. And so there's a benefit to pointing to all of the ways that we keep ourselves in the dream of separation, in the dream that there is division. But the whole point is that it's a dream, it's not reality. The mind can never understand what it is because it's not the mind that gets this. It's not the mind, we could say, that awakens. It's the consciousness itself that awakens out of the dream of separation. It awakens as a consciousness to realize the fullness of itself, and it starts functioning as a cosmic consciousness instead of a mind consciousness. It's like the consciousness just starts functioning as one unified field, as one mind, one consciousness, instead of functioning in an idea and a dream that I am divided. But as much as we can talk about this, the words are not here to explain something. They're not here to grasp something. God is here. The glory is here. The light is here. Grace is here. Let us just open for the descent of grace. Let us just open to receive. And if words come, they are to guide us by grace, to open to recognize the grace and the glory that is already here, the presence of love that is already here. So just to notice the felt sense of your own presence, to feel that you are here, to feel that sense of being here now, the felt sense of presence, of your simple existence. And you can't do this wrong and you can't do this right. If you can notice that you are here and you are here as a presence, as a wide open field of presence, it's just to be here. But whatever feels to be the experience, what you are is presence. You've never not been presence. And even if there's a sense of looking for it, not finding it, trying too hard, thinking that you're not getting it, you still are presence. You still are the field. And the field is present to itself. Consciousness in this moment is present to itself. And the invitation of grace and glory is just to soak here, to be truly infused here, is to soak in the frequencies and the transmission of grace and glory, and to receive your own knowing of this truth. What do you know of God? What do you know of the divine? What do you know of grace? Are you open and willing and ready to be whole? And as these questions come, answer silently within. Let yourself be guided and take the outstretched hand with each invitation if you so wish to. Are you ready to know yourself? Are you willing to be whole? Are you willing to know the grace and glory of God and your oneness with God? Are you ready to release the concepts and ideas of the divine and to actually open to a direct transmission and knowing of what God and glory really is? As I open to the presence that I am, the presence I am. As I open to the presence I am here now, I invite the greatest, most glorious, unquestionable knowing into this heart, into this life, into this moment. If what is spoken feels true, you can just say yes silently inside, or you can restate something similar in your own words. You can add to it, pump it up with your own deep, almighty yes and invitation. Mm. And so just to be still and to notice the still, silent presence, to open to your own recognition of the still, silent presence, to be here and to notice in this opening to the still, silent presence, how do you recognize stillness? How are you recognizing silence? How are you recognizing presence? And it's not to answer inside in words, it's to feel and sense the resonance, the frequency, the aliveness, the energy, the vibration, whatever word invites you. To feel all sense of opening and expanding and dropping in, falling back into the stillness, into the silence, into the more subtle realms of your own presence of being, and to rest here. God is here. The glory of is here. That is certain. If you feel to be at a distance, how close you must be. How close you must be. God is here in you, as you, closer than the breath, in the still silent presence, in the still silent presence is the still small voice. And the still small voice is just waiting for your listening. So it's not about asking for anything. It's about resting here and opening to receive, to be the listening. Nothing to do, nothing to happen. You already are. It already is. God is. Love is. And that's the whole invitation, is to stop. Stop looking. Stop interpreting, stop trying to understand, stop trying to get it, and just be here so deeply that you can actually listen and hear the still small voice of the innermost being whispering in the silence, the love that is loving you, that is holding you. Do you want to hear? Do you want to hear? Open to the longing. Yes, yes, yes. I want to hear. Are you ready to hear the truth within your own heart that is resting here in the still, silent, present field? Ready to receive yourself, opening to receive yourself. I am ready for love to be revealed. I am ready for the light to be revealed. I am ready for the glory to be revealed. Looking nowhere, going nowhere, just being here, just being here. Nothing needs to happen, no new experience, just to be here. That as we open to the field of presence, the stillness, the silence, the sense of expansion and openness is a boundlessness, a directionless, open field. You are here. God and glory is here as this one unbounded field. Just resting here. Listening, receiving, receiving your own cognition of the still silent field, receiving your own cognition of God and glory. Light is here. The field of light transmission is here. There's nothing to do, just to notice what is happening now. Notice if there is mind waves arising, thinking, a wanting to do, a wanting to understand, just allowing whatever you are noticing to just be here. Just to recognize what is happening now. You don't have to sit in any particular way. You don't have to have the eyes particularly open or closed. There's nothing that we need to do. It's about being here, listening, being the openness. And the stop is to stop doing. And to stop doing is to stop straining, stop trying, stop even trying to sit right. Stop trying to hear the small voice of God. Stop trying to get it right. It's all about the inner sense of yes. In a way, the inner intention or the inner sankalpa, like the inner prayer. It's a frequency thing. So it's that frequency that starts to bring a mirrored vibration from the divine, from the light transmission field. So the frequency of your heart and your longing, it's like a call and response that the yes, the longing calls out. And that frequency field is like a samyama. It comes back. It comes back as a recognition of the silence, of the stillness. When you're in a big wide open space and you call out and an echo comes back, it's kind of like that. That as your heart calls out, it's not something that arrives. It's an echo that comes back in the stillness, in the silence, that says, I am here and I've got you. That says, I am here and I love you. It says, I am here and I am you. And it's not something other than you. It's the deepest part of yourself. We could say it's the deepest part of yourself and the highest part of yourself together. And in a way, we like opening to the highest part, but we're not so ready to open to the deepest. And it's this opening in the heart to the highest and the deepest as a frequency field of wholeness, a simple receptivity. And it's not about receiving anything other than yourself. And that's why it's about resting in the still, silent presence to receive the pristine truth of your own purity and to know that you're not looking for something outside of you. And you don't have to do anything or be better or be more ready or be different. But just as you are right now, You already are one with God. You already are a child of God. You are already loved completely and wholly. And in a way, all of the things that we think we need to fix and change, they reorganize and realign when they're just seen from the true perspective, when they're seen from the light, when they're seen as one field of grace and glory, in this recognition that there is only one power. And if we give all that we are to that one power and to that knowing, and we stop dividing and imagining that there are two powers or more, that we align with the truth of the heart. And when we align with that one power, that power starts to take up residence in our heart. The still small voice starts to whisper from inside, I am here. I am here and I have always been here, and I am you. There's no division. And this is love. This is grace. This is glory. It's an inner knowing. It cannot come from outside, and it does not come as an experience. It comes as an unquestionable knowing. And it's here now for everyone. It's not in the future. It's not in a spiritual journey. It's not in when you're ready and when you heal this, or when you've learned this practice or this technique, or when you can, hold your breath in a hold for this amount of time. There's no conditions on this love. How could there be, right? How could there be conditions? And then we start to see all of the ways that we have aligned ourselves with the belief in conditions. But we're creating all of that out of our deeply held belief that there are two powers. When we bring an alignment to the truth that there is only one power, and we open in that sense of presence, there is only one power, there is only one glory, and here I am, God, here I am. Just that inner alignment allows the light, that power to descend, the power of love, to bring the great illumination that undivides. You can't get it right and you can't get it wrong, and it's not about living life differently or better. It's about letting God and glory into your life, into every single fiber and atom of your being, so that you know the one power, that it takes over. It enters every single corner, crevice, nook and cranny of your life. And the light reveals that the shadows that we think are there, that we need to heal, are not really there. The light acts as a profound field of light transmission that brings a transmission of true healing. And the true healing is that we recognize that there's never been anything wrong. And that when we truly settle enough into the grace and the glory of presence, of still, silent being, when we truly open to love, when we truly open to that one power, grace and glory, and we actually, truly, actually open to it, we stop trying to fix and change, and we stop living our lives in these divided ways that are trying to, on one hand, open and awaken, but on another hand, we're in this division where we believe there are two powers. We're trying to fix and change, we're trying to heal, we're trying We're trying to move in all of these divided ways. And what we're really saying is, I don't believe in one power. I believe in more than one power. Right? So then we're resonating at the frequency of fear. So just to receive the transmission, of what is being noticed, and just to rest here, just to receive it. That you're not understanding something, you're not getting a teaching, you're opening to the wisdom of your own heart, the light of your own heart's knowing. So just to feel it, just to feel the wisdom of your own heart and what you know to be true as a resonant frequency. The sharing is your own heart speaking to you. And so it is just to confirm within your heart, yes, yes, I recognize the truth of this. Yes. At the frequency level, it is to align. Because what is happening is an inner recognition of the truth of your heart. And as you feel and sense this truth as resonance, as frequency, and there's like a confirmation inside in the innermost sense of being, in the stillness, in the silence, it aligns with the one power. And as there's an aligning with the one power, that one power starts to enter every cell and fiber of your being, starts to enter your heart. It starts to take up residence and move you and your life as the animating force of your life. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing wrong with you. The glory sees nothing wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. Your mind believes in wrong. Your mind believes in problems. And the mind believes in solving those problems. But the only solution that brings true resolve is to allow the love of God into the heart, into the life, and to bring clear vision. Anything and everything can be healed in this light because it does not exist in the way the mind thinks that it does. That is certain. That is certain. And so in this moment, we invite the demonstration of love. We invite love to demonstrate the extraordinary power of presence, the extraordinary power of opening to the one power. Just to notice what is happening now. Just to bring that awareness. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong. Just to be so open that you include everything that's here in this moment. And just a noticing. Nothing is right or wrong or better. Just to be here, to feel yourself here. Let the sense of presence grow. Let the listening grow. The listening is like a receptivity to this moment that's open to receive all the frequencies and resonances of light transmission of this moment. An openness to receive the transmission of the intelligence of this moment, to recognize and open to a more profound way of using your full consciousness, your full intuitive capacity in this moment, to know the truth of who you are, to know this presence, this sense of yourself just being here, just to know yourself here in this moment, just as you are. Not trying to understand if, am I a person, am I not a person, am I something, or am I nothing? Just let go of all of the conceptual ideas and just be here. Just meet yourself here. Meet the presence of yourself here. Meet the glory here. Meet the love of God here. Open to the longing. Open to the longing or the love of God or the love of truth. Open to that calling out for grace to come. And receive the reverberant frequencies of response as a transmission of light. You are loved, you are held, you are seen, you are known. And so just to notice, is there a sense of the presence being here? Is there a sense of the divine being here? Is there a sense of God or glory being here? Of light being here? Don't let the words steer you into mental interpretation. Just notice, and it's okay if the answer within you says no. But just notice what is here. Just notice what is here to be noticed and received. Just be in the truth of your direct experience. Just to be here, just as you are. Nothing else to do. Nothing to understand, nothing to achieve. No way to have a good experience or a better experience. Just to be here. Just to receive. Just soaking, infusing in the grace and glory of God. Soaking in the frequency of the love of God. Just notice if there's a sense that it's possible to be apart from God and glory. Is it possible to be apart from love? Is it possible to be divided from wholeness? Can you find the inner knowing that it is not possible? Can you find the inner knowing that it is entirely impossible to be divided from the one power, to be divided from love? And just to rest in the frequencies of what your heart knows, the field of presence, the field of transmission. to be able to recognize the presence, your own presence that is here now. Just to drop into the simplicity of being a field of presence, dropping into the peace, the still, silent field of peace and openness, and that this is the field of love, a field of transmission, a field of light, a field of grace. And as we drop in, we open to receive all that this field is, all that it offers, as one power, as one unconditional field of love and blessing. That everything that seems to be discordant in the field can reconfigure in this frequency of love, this frequency of one. Everything can reconfigure. So the invitation now is to just notice if there is discordance revealing itself, or if there is anything that feels like it's holding you back or holding you captive. And just to call it forward. Not as a story or as a drama, but just call it forward as a recognition of a frequency of discordance or a feeling or emotion, or just however you recognize discordance, just to call it forward, just let it be here. Let it come forward into the light, and let the brilliance of the light illuminate and reveal the truth. Let the truth be illuminated in the presence of love. Let the presence of love touch everything that feels to be discordant. Shift the whole idea of feeling the feelings as a doing, as an effort, and let the presence of love touch everything. Let the presence of love touch anything that feels to be discordant or tender or upset or disturbed or distressed or diseased or whatever it is in the field, in this moment. You don't need to go searching around for everything, just what's really present here now. Just let the presence of love touch the fear, the doubt, the shame, the guilt, the scarcity, the ways that you are hard with yourself, the sadness, the hurt. Let love touch everything. Let the power of love touch everything. Let the light illuminate and reveal the truth. So the noticings are noticing the sense of presence that gets wider and more expanded, noticing the blanket of stillness, of silence. You may notice a sense of like a light or a presence enter you. You may feel the presence of love, the presence of God, the presence of light, alive in your heart, alive as light in or around your head. You may notice it in your belly. You may notice it throughout the body. And it doesn't matter if you notice anything or you don't. You still are. God still is. You already are. What's happening in the field is, as the transmission of light is moving in the field, within the intelligence of the frequencies, there's a repatterning happening. And that repatterning is a repatterning of the whole field, but it touches each one, each consciousness, each nervous system uniquely. And it reorganizes and recalibrates. It is recalibrating what is ready to be recalibrated. And it might feel like surfacing and transmuting, or it might not be noticeable, but the recalibrating is happening in every nervous system. Whatever is available for grace, grace is taken care of. Whatever is available for grace, grace is tending to. Every nervous system, every consciousness, every mind consciousness, every body consciousness is part of the one field of consciousness. And the field of consciousness is conscious and awake to itself. And it's gathering itself into this divine resonant remembrance of itself. And it's repatterning itself and reorganizing itself so that the capacity that each one feels to have is a greater capacity of being able to use the fullness of consciousness and not just the mind consciousness within the dream of separation, but the capacity to see through the dream of separation is the capacity of consciousness to recognize itself as wider, broader, vaster, and infinite, and unbounded, eternal, timeless, and that consciousness itself is not trapped within the dimensionality of mind, body. And as we open to the fullness of consciousness and its full capacity, and we start operating from this recognized capacity that we are a transmission field, we're resonating at a fine frequency, a subtle frequency, where our whole functioning and lived experience is a process of recalibration in every moment. And so if we are open to not be bound and identified at the frequencies of fear and discordance, and in a way believing our smallness, believing our limitation, we start resonating at the frequency of the one power. And that power starts to recalibrate our lived experience. Now, everything that feels to be bound is never bound. It's always part of the whole. It's our unique experience of a dream of separation, a dream of division. That dream is never a reality. And so we're opening to recognize that reality is a whole awake field, one power, one love, in a way, one cosmic mind, one universal knowing, one unified field. We're opening to join and remember our belonging and our fluid, animated, living as life, as one unified field. And that's what's happening as we join and we open. So the grace is not trying to understand that, but the grace is being able to feel the frequency of love, the frequency of presence, because this is where the nourishment is. This is where the recalibration is happening, where we can attune to, in a way, our own connection to Source. When we're attuned and connected to Source through our own kind of sovereign connection, then we're being resourced from Source. And then our whole consciousness is in the process of recalibration. It's all the perspective of seeing it. And the perspective of God and glory is only God and glory. What is, just what is. And everything that seems to be our unique perspective is God appearing as. And if we realize in the one power that God is just appearing as this, that, and the other, but it's all the same one truth, we open to seeing differently. We open to seeing from and as the light that can illuminate and dispel the darkness. And this is where the grace of life is Guru. Guru is the dispeller of darkness. And the grace of the light that dispels the darkness is alive within all of us. That we are the light that can dispel the darkness. And we're just being invited to connect to that frequency of light so that we recognize that we have this innate, inherent power to dispel the experience of darkness. But it's not to transcend and pretend it's not there. It's about recognizing from the true perspective that it's never been darkness. And so it's revealing the light in the darkness. And we don't reveal the light in the darkness by getting away from it, but we reveal the light in it by fully embracing it, by fully welcoming it, fully including and receiving what seems to be darkness. So as the recalibration is happening, as we have been inviting the discordance to come forward, what's happening in the field is the illumination is revealing that it's not a different power. It's not a power of darkness that's dividing. What's being revealed through complete inclusivity, complete unconditional love. As love touches everything, what's revealed is through this receiving and this inclusion is that there is only love. There is only a light, which is the principle of illumination, and that is God, the glory. And as we realize what God and the glory is, we're realizing that God is not a thing, an entity, a person, but God is everything. God is love, right? We're coming to actually recognize what God actually is as the presence field, because then we stop looking for some kind of conceptual idea of God and we actually start receiving the glory of God right here, now. And we come to be able to recognize the felt sense of the presence of God, the presence of the holy, the presence of love is here. And it's the true power. It has the power to completely recalibrate our lived experience, to rejuvenate our lived experience. So a moment resting in the presence of God is never a moment wasted. There's many moments that are wasted, perhaps, and yet we only know that when we recognize where the true nourishment is. So this is what is happening in the field of our joining, of our gathering. So let's just rest here and receive the grace and the glory, and just open to see, are you feeling and recognizing the presence? Do you recognize it as the presence of presence? Could you recognize it as the presence of love, or the presence of God, the presence of the divine, the presence of wholeness, of light? The words don't matter. It's about the direct experience, the recognizing, and the recognizing is happening within the consciousness that is recalibrating and opening to a deeper sense of its intuitive knowing, right? This is where the magic happens. You don't have to understand a thing. You don't have to understand the words. You can just let it all go, because it doesn't matter. It's all happening in the unseen. And it's actually about opening to be able to perceive in a much more subtle way, where the knowing isn't knowledge. The knowing is the subtle perception, and the recognition, this recognizing of God and glory as a field of presence, a field of light transmission, a field of essential, nourishing love, what love truly is. Just to receive it, just to receive it right now. The nectar, the bliss nectar is to receive the transmission of light right now. Mm. Presence of love is here in such a brilliant, bright, and yet tender way that is holding everything with such care, holding you with such care, with such profound compassion. The holding of the mother, divine embrace, and the holding of the Father in divine embrace, like a unified embrace of power and strength, which is present as the one power, and it's present as strength and focus, and it's present as yielding and receptivity and intuition and softness. It's present as a unified wholeness, like the embrace of wholeness. You are held. You are held. And you are blessed. And you are seen and you are known. And there's a recalibrating of all of the aspects of yourself. And the invitation to the deepening is as there is a welcoming of everything that seems to be discordant, as every fiber and thread of discordance is revealed and included, there's a deepening that is happening. In a way, as we feel, we deepen. We deepen our wideness and our intuition, and we deepen into the knowing of love. As we feel, as we include, and we reveal more of the love that's hiding in the seeming discordance, we deepen, we get deeper. And as we get deeper, we feel more grounded in our life, and the sense of division in the life starts to disappear. The sense of a spiritual life and a worldly life starts to completely disappear into just a knowing of life itself. As we deepen, as we deepen, as we feel and we open, and we meet the sense of discordance, and we allow the power of love to touch everything.